47-year-old Nigerian man arrested for kpaied his wife just few months after they relocated from Nigeria to the UK. Hello everyone, you're so much welcome. Cases like this are cases that whenever it turns up on social media, it always gets people have mixed feelings and reactions, because we thought Osinachi's being a case study, because whether we like it or not, Osinachi's incidents became a case study because it was dealt with quite extensively on social media, and how she tried so much to avoid that marriage for 2 years but went back in, and at the end of the day she kpaied due to this same issue of domestic brouhaha. A lot of Nigerians are either have Japad, wife has Japad, or husband has Japad, or both are planning to Japa together with the children. There's rarely any Nigerian family who doesn't fall into this line. And some who don't fall are already praying and saving up money, maybe to achieve that in the next year. So it's this reality on ground that is what is happening. And one of the most favored places that we go to as Nigerians for fleeing the country is either UK, US, or Canada. In this case, Taiwo, who is a nurse, qualified in Nigeria, has experience in Nigeria, decided as a 41-year-old woman to seek greener pastures for herself and her family members. She's 41 and her husband is 47, and decided to say, okay, we have 3 boys, 3 lovely children. Let us make better life for them. So she went ahead to the UK earlier this year, and in no time she filed for her husband and 3 children to join her, and they did. It is not automatic. This kind of achievement has got a lot to do with sweat, stress, sleepless nights, overtime work, fatigue, and all of that. But if you have an objective to achieve, either as a family or as an individual, you just have to put in the work and you hope for the best. So she hoped for the best, hoping that having her family members with her would at least bring them to another level of betterment. Not that everything is going to turn rosy all, the night after, but at least they've made an attempt, which to a lot of Nigerians is an enviable one. Possibly a lot of people who knew their relocation plans or saw when they relocated or knew about their relocation later on would be envious to say, these people are going to enjoy the best life ever over there, not knowing that is the worst decision they would have ever made in their lifetime. Because how do you explain a family who has finally succeeded in traveling this same 2023, having the wife go first, the husband and the children joining months later, only to have case of the woman as kpaied by this same husband of her youth? What led to this, and how did this happen? Now, talking about this, the man called Abodunde David Olubumi, who is 47, like I said earlier, is set to appear at Suffolk Magistrates Court after being charged with kpaied over the kpaied of his wife, Oweye Taiwo Morenikeji. She's a twin. She has a twin brother. It was reported that the incident happened on Tuesday, November 28th, 2023. So just a few days ago, barely 5 days ago. Police officers were called to their property after reports of a serious incident. Taiwo, in her 40s, was pronounced kpaied at the scene. According to the court documents, the suspect is charged with kpaiing his wife. It is reported that David and his wife had relocated to the UK from Nigeria earlier in the year. Then a Twitter user alleged that Taiwo had filed a restraining order against her husband before the tragic incident happened. The deceased brother, Oweye Alex Adekunle, in a post on Facebook reports that Taiwo left behind 3 children who have been handed over to the social services in the UK. Now, from other sources as well, we heard of how this marriage has been toxic right from Nigeria, where it was always a case of baz, booz, booz, baz. That the man barely had any kind of verifiable source of income. And that, you know how it is in Nigeria, where a lot of women would prefer for their corpses to be carried out of their marriages than for them to walk out alive. Because honestly, there's no better way to paint this thing. No matter how much awareness we give to it, no matter how people see stories and hear stories like this, some women will still be adamant. They will still rather just finish their life inside there. And the truth of the matter is, it is whoever dies his own finish. Now the man has been taken to court and is definitely going to be behind bars all the rest of his life, because it has been proven that he did it. Now, what's the fate of the 3 children? Like we heard just now, the 3 kids are taken over already by the social services. And one now thinks, what was the whole essence of all the marriage itself? Bringing 3 boys into the world and having that kind of record, because the children are going to grow up and they are going to later hear the story. That is, even if they were not present when their father was kpaied their mother, and their father will eventually. Do you know the kind of trauma that this will bring onto the children for the rest of their lives? Do you know that this kind of thing causes children to become so, I don't even know what to call it, because it's there. There's a stigma. And some people will say, oh, the children are lucky, they're going to be. There's nowhere that is as beautiful as being with your parents. I don't want to care whatever social services they do over there. Nobody will give you that care. It is a structured establishment. And the worst they can do is to put them in foster homes. And we saw stories already trailing those children. I really don't know. And I can imagine the kind of pain these ladies' family members are feeling now, to be like, what else could she have done differently? You heard a story recently where this kind of thing happened. The wife out for the husband and the children to come in, and at the airport, the woman collected her 2 children like this, held them in her hand and said, Mr. Man, au revoir, we are done. Go and find your level. And people were accusing her. And she later clarified to say, she has gone through hell and back. And she knew that the only way she could have her children to herself was to do what she did. And she's not apologetic to anybody for doing that. So perhaps, if this late Miss Taiwo has done the same, will she be alive? But it just shows how some people's mind operates. The fact that a man has decided to marry you, or a woman has decided to marry you, does not give you a right over her life. It is meant to be when both are meant to be. It is the union of the mind and the body. And the moment is not working anymore, I think we should respect ourselves by giving each other the space. Because I don't see why, if this has been seen from the beginning, that they will have their children to this point, to have the father kpaied the mother, and the father has to be behind bars all the days of his life, that's if it's not her, then there wouldn't even have been any marriage at all. The comment section where this was taken from was actually from Easter blog, and some comments threw one off balance, to be like, nobody knows what the wife has done to the husband. Whatever thing the wife has done to the husband is not justifying the fact that he had no right to do that to his wife. Absolutely no right. Absolutely not. And from what we heard, he didn't really have any job doing. And we know that when you're abroad, it's only in Nigeria a man can decide not to even be doing anything. And the woman will keep doing everything, paying the rent. If she doesn't want anybody to know, she will keep covering it up. And the man will still be doing daddy wa in the house, while the woman will just keep the suffering going year in, year out, because of the title of Mrs. and to be under a man's house, until she gets exhausted or gets so resentful of what is supposed to be a happy marriage. The man, despite having a restraining order, still flaunted that rule and went ahead to Shilon according to the reports. So now that this has happened, we'll always say that we need to assess ourselves every time. This life is 2 ways. It's either something works or it doesn't work. When it has to do with 2 parties to do something, and one is not doing it anymore. Omo, waka. A 41-year-old woman who is barely a year in the UK as a nurse. People who know what the UK means is understand that if you are a nurse in the UK, omo, you're going to work your ass off. You're going to do overtime if you want to have anything to save. It is not cast in stone. You're still going to struggle with the weather. You're going to struggle with yourself. You're going to struggle with the routine. You're going to struggle with the work you're doing, which you have to be 100% at maximum capacity. So you don't need anybody getting into your headspace and damaging your headspace for whatever reason, especially from a spouse. That is the least thing that is expected. So this is another case of Osinachi, who perhaps could have done something differently. But the question again is, she was able to get into that society, that country, and she thought restraining order was going to restrain the man from coming close to her, but the man flaunted it. So what could she have done again? That is the $1 billion question people are asking on this case of Taiwo and Ajay, husband of Kpaied. People have been talking, giving their experiences, saying they knew them when they were in Nigeria. They've always seen this coming because she has gone through so much. How could a beautiful woman subject herself to this kind of man whose face is not even, I don't know what to call it. Because even if he looks fine facially with what he's done, I don't care what his wife has done. This should not be the solution to the problem of whatever it is they're having. So people, nobody will know your marriage more than you. If you want to choose life, you choose life. If you want to choose Kpaied, you choose Kpaied. But those children that you don't want to leave your marriage for, at the end of the day, when your enemy Kpaied, you will leave them for the world. And in this case, the children are left for foster home to take care of. Please drop your comments in the comment section below. And we wish the deceased RIP and hope that our children will get the best, however it's going to happen. I'll see you in the next video.